Welcome back, everyone. I'm Aubrey. I am one of the designers here at Universal Yarn, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Coco. Coco is a knit stuffed bunny rabbit friend who is part of our 12 Days of Winter kit collection. Coco is knit using Uptown worsted, which is our 100% anti-pilling acrylic worsted weight yarn. It is a fantastic choice for garments, accessories, and best buddies, as you can see here. Coco is knit in pieces, both flat and in the round, and then he is stuffed and seamed together. So today, what I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about is how I embroidered Coco's face. So I'll do some demonstrations of the techniques that I used, but feel free to make Coco your own and have fun with it any way you choose. So to get started, all you need to do is thread your black yarn onto your tapestry needle. Be sure to leave one end long and one end short. You will work with the shorter end, and the longer end we will trap the tail as we go. So Coco is yours. Feel free to make his face however you like, whatever suits your fancy. For me, I started with the eyes and I spaced them out about 1.5 inches from each other. So I've done one eye to get started, and now I'm going to show you how to work the second one. So from the center point of the eye, I'm going about 1.5 inches over, and that's where we will begin. So to get started, we're going to make a parallel row of long stitch lines that will serve as the base of the eye, and then we'll go back over those with horizontal lines to create the 3D shape. So we're going to insert our needle into the stitch here. So now we have the tail from the long end. What we're going to do is, as we work, basically just trap this tail inside of the stitches. That's serving as sort of a faux knot while we're working. So the first thing we're going to do is go up this is about 1 inch or about 4 stitches. Come back out the bottom. And working on actual Coco, you will have a lot more sort of tension from the stuffing that's inside of him that I don't have because I'm working on a flat swatch at the moment. So now we're going to go a little bit higher than the first stitch line. Back into the bottom, a little bit lower than the first stitch. And this is kind of feel it as you go. Coco is yours. And again, I'm starting to just trap that tail as I'm working. So now we're going to go a little bit higher than the second line for the middle. Come out again a bit lower. Pull that through. And at this point, if you want, you can cut the tail, or you can just continue to trap it as you go, which is what I will do. So now we're going to reverse this order. So a little bit lower than the middle, and a little bit higher than where the last point is. So these vertical lines are going to look not as beautiful as you think they should, but all they are really doing is serving as a base to make a sort of 3D eye. So then come out for the last. And now pull the tail tightly, and we're ready to make the horizontal lines. So I'm going to flip this way just because that's easier for me while I'm working. So the first thing we're going to do is create the bottom. So you can see the horizontal lines go in sort of a similar pattern to the vertical lines. We're going to start small to the biggest one, back to small. Tiny stitch here. Oops, getting caught. I need to pull my yarn a little bit more. And then just keep at it. And you can just kind of gauge as you go. These are pretty easy to pull out as well, so if you find you're not super happy with the way that one of them looks, you can very easily just unthread your yarn, rethread it, pull the stitch out. Because you're making loops, so as you can see, this is starting to build up the shape of the eye here. And those lines we created before just serve as almost like a pillow inside of the horizontal stitches. So they're going to create a really nice sort of bubble effect for the eye. And we're just going to keep going. The biggest thing you want to make sure of as you're working these horizontal lines is that you are trapping all of your vertical lines inside of them. I find this was definitely a really fun part of designing Coco because I got to sort of just do whatever I wanted to do and make him look super cute. Just gonna keep going. Slide those over. I will clip that tail once I'm done. Just keep covering, making them the width that you want, but again, just making sure to trap your stitches as you go. I find this is also like a really soothing process because it's slow and kind. So we're coming to the end here, so I'm going to start tapering down the width of my stitches. For these last 3, I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. So really, in terms of the knitted stitches, I'm going over about just 1 for this final stitch. And we'll make one last pass, very small. Perfect. So now, all you need to do to close up is take your needle and sort of slide it into the stitches that you've made, pull it through, and then you can clip it. Now we'll move on to the watery eye effect using the white yarn. Okay, so we have the black part of the main eye done. As you can see, I do have a little stitch right here that got a little bit away from me. That's okay. We're just gonna work with it and go forward. So to make this very cute little watery eye effect that I did here and in the sample, you're gonna need to just thread your needle with a small piece of the white yarn. So what we're gonna do is insert the needle into the lower left corner of the eye, slide in. You have to be gentle here, all the way through the stitches until you get to sort of the upper right, I would say on a clock, about the 2 mark. Pull this through, trap the long end of the tail inside those black stitches, secret knots. So now we're going to just make 1, 2, however many you want, little diagonal lines that create sort of a watery eye look. So I'm going to insert, go about just 1 stitch length over. Already adorable. And we'll do 2 just to be fun. Pull them shut. Whenever you are happy with that, you can just insert the needle back in. Do the same process as before, slide underneath your black stitches, pull, and then what we're gonna do to close it up is just take some scissors, cut as close to the black stitches as you possibly can. Then just kind of even it out, and that's gonna hide that right underneath there. So there you have it, Coco's little eyes. Okay, so after we've got our eyes, let's move on to making the nose and mouth. This is a really fun and simple process. Again, you can make this however you want, so you can take my idea, do it exactly as that, or just have fun and do it your own way. Just like as before, we will use a long and short end of the yarn, but this time we'll be using the white, or in your case with the kit, the cream color. So we're gonna start by finding sort of the center point between the eyes and map out a little triangle shape. That's how we will begin. So to start this off, I'm going to insert about, I would say, 1 inch, 1.25 inches below, directly center from the middle point of the eyes. We're going to go in a stitch and up in a diagonal motion. This is where, since Coco is stuffed, he's going to provide some tension for your yarn. you'll kind of feel exactly where you want to stop. Same with the eyes, we'll have this little tail here. We're going to trap it as we work. So we're going to go down, diagonal, up just one stitch. Perfect. Then what we want to do is go down into that stitch again, up right diagonal. I'm going a little too far up here. You can just play with this, have fun with it. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is taking these 2 points as our start and stop, we're going to create diagonal lines that all meet in this middle point across the entirety of the nose and sort of do it just in a rounded shape. So we'll go down, scoop up right beside the first stitch on the right, and just repeat the process. There are lots of ways to do embroidery. I used some pretty traditional techniques for Coco, but you know, you can do it however you want. If you want him to have a round nose, he can have a round nose. And just continue. You can kind of shift these as you go. Once you get to the middle, that's where you're going to want to push the tail up and sort of trap it while you're working. And again, all my stitches are meeting at the center point of the bottom of the nose. And that's what's going to kind of give it this rounded shape as well. And I'm getting some pullback because, again, I'm working on a flat piece. So up into the middle. Pull my tail. I'm going to trap this guy here. And again, you know, don't pressure yourself to make this quote unquote perfect. Perfect is not real. So just have fun with it. You could even, if you have some spare pink yarn, make Coco's nose pink. I've got a knot here. It happens. And again, with the stuffed head, you're going to feel a lot of nice tension as you work because of the stuffing, which I do not have as I'm working. So you're going to kind of be able to work a little bit better with that. So we're going to come down to sort of the end here shortly. Okay, so to make the bottom part of the nose, you're going to want to go into the center bottom point, diagonal left out, pull that. So then we're going to go up back into the center. This is a little fiddly with the needle, but the next thing you're going to want to do, you go down and then directly diagonal. Try to match those points, but if they're not perfect, that's okay too. You can see the first side of the mouth here, and then back into the center and up through the middle. Perfect. So now to finish, I'm just going to slide my needle inside the sort of 3D stitches we've made, pull it through, and then we will trim the tail. And that is all there is to it. Cut this as close as you can, and perfect. There is Coco's face. So there you have it, guys, how to embroider Coco's little face. As you can see on the actual Coco stuffed animal, you have a lot of room to work with. So you can kind of map out his face exactly how you want it to be and have fun with it. Again, just a reminder, Coco is part of our 12 Days of Winter kit collection, which you can find exclusively at your local yarn store.